while for the Zoom to really hook on to the Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, so gotta hold on for a short while.
Mm.
Even though it says live, we got to double confirm.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Okay. Hello, parents. This is Coach John here from Learning Out of the Box. And thanks so much for being here. And you know that right now I'm feeling a bit nervous because I'm talking to an English teacher. Hello, Felicia.
Hi, John. Hello.
Yeah,
Thank you
this is
for having
my
me today.
yeah, welcome. And this is one of my weakness. Yeah. So when I interview English teacher, I tend to be very conscious of how I speak.
Please, just be yourself. You're great.
Great,
Yes.
great. Thanks so much for your encouragement. Okay, so parents, today we have Felicia Chen, and today she's going to talk about helping your child ace the oral exam and beat exam anxiety. And parents, if you are still with us, thanks so much for being here. And because our mission is to help parents who teach their children maths, and of course our children have to take on other subjects as well. So we highly encourage you to like the post, to drop a comment if you have a question, or to share the video because we want to help more parents to get to know all this knowledge so that our children can really have an easier life in school. All right, okay, Felicia, would you be able to share with us your backstory, like how you end up doing helping kids to ace oral exam? And also, I think what is interesting is you are also talking about the emotional side as well. Yep. So over to you.
Yes. Hi. So I started out teaching English classes, and oral wasn't a big part of what I did in the past. Then one day, this mother, whom I know, came to me and said, "Hey, teacher, do you teach oral?" And I said, "No, I don't specifically teach oral, but I will revise with the children before the oral exams. But if you only want oral for the entire lesson," I said, "I have never done that before." And she said, "Can you help my son? He's taking his PSLE oral exam." And I said, "Yeah, why not? Let's try." And that was how I got started. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about how to ace oral exam, and I think even as for me being a parent, I'm very keen to know the tricks as well. Yeah. So what are some of the tricks that you normally share with your students when it comes to doing well in oral exam? And I thought it's just go there, talk non-stop.
Yeah, I was the kind of student who really enjoyed talking. So I will be talking nonstop, and my teacher will actually punish me because I talk too much. so I
Yeah.
think, so I think that has proved to be very useful today for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think confidence is key. During COVID, I had to take my lessons online. And many of my students, just a couple of months back, just 1 or 2 months back ago, when we were having the PSLE oral, they have never met me before. And I think it was very important that I can connect and build rapport with them before I can teach them the tips. So later on, I'll be sharing the tips specifically with our parents here today.
Great. And you mentioned about the word connecting, and I thought it's very interesting. So when, let's say, a student come to you, and of course, I think because it's oral, and some children may be very shy, or maybe they have some bad experience. Okay, let me share with you my experience. When I was in P5, I think I had a certain sense of anxiety. Yeah, so that's one time that I really like could not open my mouth because I was so
Yes.
nervous.
Yes.
Yeah, and then this English teacher, who was also my form teacher, started to open his mouth, and I thought that he's going to encourage me. Okay, here comes a word. And I still remember after over 30 years, oh my God, okay. And he
Oh my
said this,
goodness. That
yeah,
must have been traumatic.
and he said this, why are you so hopeless?
Oh
Damn.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
So I think when it comes to oral, I don't think I have a very good experience with that. So speaking on behalf of the kids, so what will you do to encourage them to speak up?
Yes. First of all, um, every child is different. And the reason why they come to a teacher is because they need help. And the last thing that we need to tell them is that they're hopeless, or oh, you're a C reader, you're a B reader,
Yeah.
not good enough. It's very sad. Um, I think we have to see the child as a child, you know, and each child is good at different things. So whether your child has an A in English or C in English or cannot speak well, they leave my lesson feeling very confident. So I do not only praise when you read like an A-star student. The point is that if from the first minute when you start my class compared to the last minute and you read that same sentence differently and there is improvement, I will praise you. So even just for trying, I think it takes a lot of courage for the child to even dare to read to you because he or she knows that they are being judged, you know.
Yep.
And that is why oral is so scary because you know that someone is going to scrutinize at the way you speak, at whatever that you say, right? So I think it's very sad that yeah, I heard this story today. So yeah, I just want to say that if for me, when the child reads, even if he read poorly, I will encourage him and I'll say, well done, that was very brave, or that was very clear. He might not read with very good articulation, but he might have the correct pitch, he might have the correct loudness. There's always something to praise, and we shouldn't be looking at the shortcoming. We are here to help him with his shortcomings, not to pinpoint and make him feel lousy about it. And if parents are going to pay fees for their child to be put down, then I don't see a point at all. And I think in today's society, especially during this COVID period, it is even more important that we are able to support the child emotionally. Because even as adults, we had to go through so much ups and downs. And children, they might not express it per se, but I'm sure inside they also feel like, hey, life is different. They might feel out of sorts, but they might not be able to articulate how they feel exactly. Yeah. So as teachers during this time, I think it's even more important our role as educators to build that confidence and that self-esteem, and to even share a bit of happiness and joy during the lesson. So, yeah, that is what I I do. Yeah, they leave my class feeling very good about themselves. Whether or not they score A, even if they are C in their English, they leave my class feeling very good about themselves. Yes. Sorry, John. Can you go back to the question? I think I might have
Oh,
missed out on one
no,
part.
it's yeah. I think that would you be able to also share with us like some of the tips to do well
Yes. So the
oral?
tips
Because I
we
think this is
can.
what the parents actually sign up for. So we also
Yes.
want to share with them right now.
Oh, okay, sure. Let me just share photo.
Yes. Okay. While Felicia is sharing this, trying to toggle between two softwares. Yeah, parents. The reason why we're doing this is because we want to benefit you as well as your parents' friends. Yeah. So if you think that this video is going to benefit other parents as well, such that they need not be so afraid of oral, as well as their children can do well in oral, do help us to like this video as well as share the videos with your friends.
Yes. So there has been quite a bit of feedback from parents. These are the very common issues. Oh, my child has mental block, and some say they have no creativity, doesn't understand topic. So this I will categorize under content. So all these about not understanding topic can be learned over time, even if it's a short period. So this will depend whether the child is hardworking enough to want to read and learn more, right? The second part about being shy, then that's where I come in as a teacher to encourage and to build that confidence. I have had very clever students, A students who can write fantastic compositions, but they are super duper shy. Yes. And that was the biggest challenge that I had, because I know that there is so much in her head and yet it's not coming through. But eventually we managed to break through and she could speak. Yeah. And the last one is about making a good impression, organizing your thoughts, and being able to explain and give examples in detail. Yes. Okay. Now I just want to share with parents, right? This is the exam weightage for oral. Reading aloud, just reading that passage itself is 10 marks. I want to tell parents that it is very, very possible to score a 10 out of 10 for reading. It is not an impossible or difficult task, neither is it uncommon. Stimulus-based conversation is 20 marks. So in total, the weightage is 15%. And to grab this 15%, they only need to speak for 10 minutes. You know, so it's a very good deal. And it is something that everybody should work on. You talk for 10 minutes, you get 15%, right? Compared to, if you can see here, paper one, which is just slightly almost double, 27.5%. But you have to sit there for 1 hour and 10 minutes. You know, it's double the weighting, but the time is many times more. You know, so I just want to highlight here what the examiner is looking out for. So for AO1 and AO2, it is the criteria for doing well when reading. That means they must be able to read with good pronunciation, articulation, and to score that A star when reading, you need to convey the ideas and feelings in a passage, right? So you can be reading with very good pronunciation, but if you don't put your heart into it, then you are not able to bring the exact content of what the passage is about. Very much like your newscaster, you know. Yeah. And AO3 and AO4 will be the criteria for the conversation. How well you speak, whether you are able to express your ideas and experiences clearly and effectively. Yeah.
When you say AO, what does it mean? I'm lost here. AO stands for
Yeah.
what?
AO stand one, very good question. I also
Answering
haven't gone to find out what exactly that is.
objective, is it?
Sorry?
Answering objective? I mean, or
Maybe. I think we can very quickly Google.
yeah. But okay, just to clarify, because I think that some parents may have the same question.
Yes.
So are these like the marking or the criteria for awarding the marks?
Oh, that's the rubrics already. This is just the objectives. Yeah.
Okay.
These are just the objectives of the oral exam, and it is found on the SEAB website.
All right. Okay. Just a quick question, and also because as a parent myself so and we know that because it's still interaction between the teachers who are human beings and a student who is a human being. Yeah, and we know that first impression counts as well. And somehow, being a human being, we tend to be affected by what we see or our perception. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the things that a teacher would like to see in a child, even while he was coming up towards the table? Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to ask is, how can he create a good impression even before sitting down so that he can have higher chance of getting more marks?
Yes, I think for myself personally, I think a really cheerful and sincere smile makes a very difference in whichever kind of situation that you first meet a person. It can be a first date, it can be meeting a relative or after a long time, it can be meeting a friend, it can be meeting a stranger. I think what really will impress is for me, if a child is able to come up, walk up to me, look me in the face, heads up, and say, "Good afternoon, teachers." Yeah. So I practice this with my students during class as well. I say, "Hey, where's your face so black?" you know. I say, then they say, "Good morning, teacher." I say, "Smile. You need to practice your nice smile." And yeah, so for me, that shows confidence. So when we had physical lessons before COVID struck, and now physical lessons, we have resumed them, I will get students to walk through the door and we will practice that good morning part, you know. Yeah. So it's really all the small little things that count. Even as they are reading, they have to sit up straight. And instead of putting their hands under the table, you know, or just sit very rigidly like that, I always tell them, you know, look busy. Try to look busy, right? So I tell them to put their hands on the passage and move their hands down the passage as they read. Yeah. And many students always tell me, "Teacher, my teachers in school say that I cannot point at the word."
Why not?
Till today, I tell you, I cannot understand why. Well, if pointing slows you down and you cannot read well as a result, don't point. However, I know for sure that for some students, it helps when they point. You know, and yet at the same time, they don't need to point because the school is telling them that you can't point. So I tell them, put it at the side in case for any reason your mind goes blank. It happens, right? It happens. It happened to me before. But at least your fingers are there. You know that you have to reread that particular line. Yes.
Yeah. Plus there's some kids who are more kinesthetic and they need to point to something, and they need to move. I mean, because they are all so fixated at a seat on their seats. Yeah. So I think the only parts of the body that they can move is their fingers.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. What about instances of kids who are very shy? And I mean, when I was younger, I'm so stressed out and tense. Yeah. So what are some of the things that kids who experience stress and tension, even while walking up to the desk, and you can feel their hearts beating very fast. Yeah, so what can they do to really to relax? Because I think when we get tense, our throat clamps up as well, and it affects the reading.
Definitely, yes. So I have this friend of mine, Sophie, and recently mindfulness is a big thing. So I would like to share that link that I have for breathing techniques. So Sophie and I actually collaborated on another Zoom session, a live session, to help students to handle anxiety, like you said. And so there are a couple of breathing techniques in that video that is on my Facebook page. Should I share that now?
Can also actually I have the direct link. So
Okay.
I think on my site,
Yeah.
what I can do is I will share screen, I will share the video, as in I will mute the video, and then you can share with us like what are some of the key takeaways, and if the parents want to watch, I have pasted the link in the comment box already.
Yeah, I think it's mainly to do with taking deep breaths, and she has a few. There are some for calming. Over here, if you can see,
okay, let me just speed up.
Tranquility Point gives the feeling of safety and security. So I think it's just putting your hands on your forehead or here. I can't remember. I think it's here. And then her Superman point to build confidence is like that. And I tried it at night before I sleep. I found it very calming. Yeah, and for boys who are more active and on the go, they can try the karate chop point. That means you do this. So you can see that Sophie is also doing it. Yeah, and that is to release stress because anxiety will build stress up right? So maybe while waiting, if they start feeling stressed, they can practice some of these techniques, which I find really, really helpful because, you know, everything is just going through in their mind. So if they have a specific hand action to focus on, I think that will be very reassuring for children.
Wow. Yeah, in a sense, I think when you mentioned that you want to share with us the oral tips, yeah, so in my mind, because we are so wired since young, so I thought I would be hearing like how to speak fluently, how to be articulate, yeah. But I think what you also shared is very important as well is um being stressed during the exam or test, I think it's very common and is something like an invisible enemy for our own kids. Yeah. So I think as parents, it's our own responsibility to teach our children how to cope with the stress as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then at the end of the day, in order to gain confidence in whatever that we do, is practice, practice, and more practice. So the more they practice, the better they get. And they won't be so nervous because, hey, I do this with teacher Felicia every other week for an entire hour. I talk until I'm very tired. So after an hour, they're already quite exhausted. Yeah. Like you, I believe in involving parents in their learning as well. Because especially for parents who join me just 1 or 2 months before the oral exams, we cannot do it alone, right? In order to get the maximum benefit out of the lesson, I get parents to sit in the lesson when I sense that the child is comfortable. Yeah, because many of them are not comfortable with their parents seeing them read or
Me
speak.
also, I wouldn't feel comfortable if my mom is sitting next to me. Even today.
Yes.
When I read.
Definitely. I think even my own daughter, she's shy to dance in front of me, and I have to encourage her. Yeah. So I think one very useful thing that I do for parents and their children is that they get to sit in the Zoom session. For physical class, I actually invite the parent to come in and have a lesson with us. So because you know every parent, they want to see how their child is progressing, you know. But sadly, they will never get to see it because when they go home, their child will say, "No, I don't want to read to you.
Yeah.
I will read it with my teacher." Yeah. So, well, I can go on now to specific tips for the oral exam. Yeah?
Yeah, please
I'll
go
share
ahead.
my screen.
Yes, please. Parents, if you are still online with us right now, if you have any question, please do ask in the comment box so that you can pick it on later.
Oh, I should be sharing photo instead so that over here and over here. Okay. So today's topic will be on phone addiction. The very first lesson that I have with any of my students is to help them be aware of the word endings. So the word endings are consonants. Just let me expand a little bit. Okay. Please excuse my handwriting if it's not too tidy.
If you say that your handwriting is untidy, you will see mine.
I think one day we can compare handwriting. Yeah, I don't have the neatest handwriting as a teacher. Okay, so we have to take note of all these letters: T, TH, S, K, P, D. It can be an ED. Okay, I think I should have covered all already. All right, so I will get my students to circle the word ending. So we can just read through the first paragraph, and then you will see that there is couldn't here, keep, eyes, engrossed, that, mother. So a lot of Singaporeans don't pronounce the TH sound when they speak. Some do when they have to, but many on a daily basis. Even myself, if I'm speaking at home, I wouldn't make a huge effort to say my mother. I will say my mother or my mom, right? So when we read, it has to be a very conscientious effort, even though English is our first language, but being Singaporean, well, I actually quite enjoy Singlish. I think it gives us an identity, and I'm actually not shy that I can speak Singlish, or I actually sometimes enjoy it. Yeah, so I always tell my students, you all need to know when you need to speak properly. So this is what we'll be doing in class. Okay, so John, while I am highlighting, you can practice the words too.
Oh, the mic and my mic is not working now. Okay.
Okay.
I thought that I'm the one who's going to enjoy this interview, not feeling any stress. Well, now I feel the stress already. Okay. Yeah, so where should I start?
Okay. Yeah, this will be more fun.
Okay, where should I start?
Okay, so after we do this, and then my student and I will take turns to read until we perfect it. Yeah. So I'll read the first paragraph, and then I'll get you to do the drama mama part with all the feelings and expression. Okay? Okay, wait now. Let me just adjust this a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, but the annotation will not shift together with the image.
I'm trying to shift it. So okay, can. So
Okay.
Bertha couldn't keep her eyes off her phone. All day, she had been engrossed in her virtual farm game that had become popular of late. As her mother, Tanya knew that it was not a healthy sign for children to be so addicted to mobile games at such a young age. Nevertheless, whenever she attempted to take Bertha's phone away, she was always met with violent resistance. She quickly found that she didn't have the heart to upset her lovely daughter. Tanya then tried to reason with her daughter, as she thought perhaps persuasion would work better than disciplinary action. So students might have some challenges reading and pronouncing certain words, so I'll go through it with them. Yeah, and you can see the improvement made just within that few minutes. Yeah. So over to you, John. This is the expression part.
Wow. So what do I do? Read from the start again?
You can read from Bertha all the way to please get off your phone.
Oh my
I
God.
always tell my students, pretend that you are acting on stage. I say, your friends who are in speech and drama in school. So yeah, you have to put yourself in the situation, and there has to be facial expression.
Great. Okay. I will do my best, yeah.
Let's go, John.
Bertha couldn't keep her eyes off her phone.
Sorry, John. It's Bertha, could you please?
Oh, okay. I thought I got to start from the. I thought I got to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes. It's fine. And you spare me from the
agony.
Yeah. Okay. But Bertha, could you please just get away from your phone for a moment? Mommy wants to talk to you, Tanya pleaded. Bertha took a momentary glance at her mother, shrugged, and continued. Tanya, not wanting to turn hostile, right?
Yes, you're reading very well so far. Thank you.
To discipline her child, tried again. Bertha, sweetie, Mommy is asking you nicely now. Please get off your phone. And I can totally relate to that. I mean, this is how we parents always practice every day.
Yes.
Yeah, with a bit of sarcasm sometimes.
Yes, John, you read really well, and I think the last sentence you were really playing that role of a parent. Yeah, I think many parents can relate to this, right? So just briefly, these are some of the tips that I can share. Now, when we see a comma, let's change color. When we see a comma, our voice will go up. As her mother, not as her mother, right? If it's a full stop, we will say disciplinary action. We will not say disciplinary action because it sounds like I'm going to continue speaking. And if there is an exclamation mark, then definitely we need that energy in that sentence. So all these are very small nuances that we'll have to go through, and over time, the student, it will occur naturally to the student.
All right. Okay, we have a question from Mummy Roseanne O. She's asking, what can a child do when they have no experience with the discussion topic given? Do they make up a story? Yeah, just before you answer that, and then also I'm buying you time to answer her. Parents, if you have any question, do drop us a comment.
This I cannot understand. Once again, I have students coming to me saying, my teacher in school tells me to just pretend or make up a story. But I always tell my students, don't make up any story, right? Always be truthful. Truthfulness is the way to go. I say, why do you have to make up a story? You don't have to. You can say, well, I overheard this conversation. I read this in the newspaper. I heard it in the news, right? My mom shared with me this story, right? It could have been something that is within their experience. So if the examiner gets really curious about what your child is saying and goes into details, like, oh, so you have been to America before. What did you do there? Can you tell us a little bit more about, specifically about, but of course they wouldn't be so specific for primary school students, but what if? It can be any topic, it can even be a hobby. If they start saying like, oh, my hobby is collecting stamps. And then the teacher is going to ask what kind of stamps you collect. And if they have no experience, they will not be able to answer. Yeah. So I will say that if we practice enough, whatever topic that comes out, we would have already gone through it, because many topics are interconnected. Healthy living, for example, is connected with food, exercise, right? And even spending time as a family, doing activities. So once we have had enough content, I will actually integrate all these topics and have a casual conversation with my students. So whatever that comes out, they will be able to speak. Yeah. You know what, if the topic, let's say, is about skydiving, let's say for O-levels, it's about skydiving. And who not many people would have had that experience. But it's okay to say, well, I definitely would like to try it one day. I haven't. Right? Yeah, what you want to and why, right? I like the adrenaline rush maybe, and you can still talk about it, right? It doesn't have to be skydiving, but it could be going on a roller coaster ride. It can be anything of a similar experience. So yes, I mean, in my class, I teach values as well. So cooking up a story is not a value that I would like to inculcate in my children. And I really see no point in it. I think the basis of oral conversation is to connect with the examiner. They just want to see, can you speak English or not? That's as simple. Can you read and I can understand? Can you speak and I understand what you want to say? Simple as that. As long as you open your mouth to answer, you will not fail. I haven't failed anybody for the exams before. Whether it's for the O-levels, even if it's a very quiet student, as long as the student answers, we have to give that mark. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry about cooking up a story.
So it sounds to me that I just want to summarize for the parents and also for myself. So in the instance that okay, so going back to your skydiving example, the child can share about other people's stories or stories that they have heard before. And I think it takes gut also and it's also good in a sense to share with the teacher, saying that, hey, actually, I do not have such experience, but this reminded me of a story that I heard from my friend and he went skydiving. And one more thing that I got up from you is, let's say if I have the chance to go for skydiving, what will it be like for me? So I imagine.
Yes. And you can also give your 2 cents worth of the fact that skydiving is an extreme sport, right? Same like deep sea diving. Yeah. And you might not have that experience, but if you are widely read, then you maybe can say a few things about that as well. And whether you want to put your life on the line just for that adrenaline rush. So you can also share your personal feelings and opinion about extreme sports, whether it's necessary. Hence, I really see no need to cook up a story, but I tell you that I have had quite a few students, at least 3 or 4 of them coming to me, and because I immediately can catch on that it's not the truth. It's something that they made up because I know them for so long, right? And children, they're actually not very good at lying, because when they lie, they will start looking up or looking right.
Oh,
Yes. And then I just test them. The moment they start telling me something, I'm like, okay, I don't think this is true. Then I put them to the test. I ask more specific questions, and they get stuck. Yes. And then when they get stuck, I teach them the lesson. I said, you see what happens when you try to cook up a story, right? You get stuck, and you don't want to be in that kind of situation.
Yeah. Okay, one last question from me as a parent is, will there be such thing as out of point? Because we know that for essay writing, sometimes if you write, you can write out of points. So for example, the topic to talk about during the oral is skydiving. But I talk about, say, gardening, I talk about my sister, I talk about doing homework. I mean, will there be such thing as going out of point for oral?
Yes, and the examiner will bring you back. So if you see that the examiner is probing you and asking you questions a little bit more than usual, then you know that you are going out of point. Then the alarm bell should start ringing. Hey, why is this teacher keep asking me the same question or similar question? That means you might be going out of point, and they're trying to bring you back. That's what we do. Yeah, we wouldn't let the child go out of point for the next 5 minutes. We will always draw the child back. Yeah. So actually, for examiners, right, it's never about penalizing the child during the national exams. It's always about helping that child to hold a good conversation. Yeah. So I think when students know that and parents know that, they wouldn't be so anxious as well.
Great.
Yeah.
At the same time, we also have another question which I'll post in the Zoom chat. Yeah. So that you can read it from Jerlin. Okay, take your time to read it while I take on some questions from the parents from the Facebook group.
So the question is, what if a child is extremely fearful and no confidence in stimulus conversation part, worried that unable to talk about unfamiliar topic and never prepare for the topic before? I think we just touched on this. Now, if you buy the oral books from Popular, every book will have about 20 topics. And those are very, very common topics. So when it comes to content, this is the part that parents can come in to help them to revise. Yeah. So maybe, John, we can do a short demo.
Oh, can.
So your child is fearful because twice a year or once a year, they have to talk to another teacher they've never met, and they have to present their best. Anybody will be nervous. Even adults, when they go for some big time meeting and then they have to do a presentation, they get nervous as well. What more a little child, right? So there is a little game that parents can play at home, and this will set them thinking. It will help them to generate ideas. So maybe, John, can you pick up an object that is closest to you?
Oh, okay. Back to the role play, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me find my phone, right?
Yes.
Okay, here goes. Ta-da!
Yeah, so just practice with your family. If there are 3 or 4 of you in the family, you can take turns to play this 2-minute game. So the winner of the game is the one who can ask the most questions within 2 minutes. Okay, so let's say, John, yes, you hold your handphone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, John, what is this?
This is a handphone.
Very good. Sorry, I forgot to say that this is the 5W1H game.
Yeah.
Okay. John, who gave it to you?
I gave it to myself.
Wow, you bought it.
Yes, it
with
is
your
quite
own
popular.
savings. Okay, thank you. So where do you usually use your handphone?
I use it in the toilet.
Wow.
I use it in the kitchen. Okay. I think okay, I will just stick to your question. I use it in a bus, I use it in a taxi.
I
Is it
see.
enough?
And why is the handphone useful to you? So far, so good.
Okay, because we work and of course to check on others, yeah, what my friends are doing from social
Mm,
media, and of course to connect with my family members.
great. Yeah. So the next question, which might um, require a little bit more thinking, is how has the handphone or the usage of handphone enhanced your life? What
How has
benefits
it?
have you gained so far? How? So this is the how question. So the how and the why questions are the ones that will set the kids thinking. Now, why do we start playing this game about asking questions? These questions must occur to them naturally before they are able to answer. So what I train my kids to do during that 5 minutes of preparation time is preempt the question. If you read the passage and you see the picture, what are the possible questions that the examiner can ask you? And if you can get that and answer that on your own during that 5 minutes of preparation time, half the battle is won. You're already confident, more or less, what they might be asking you and what you can say. It's just adapting the answer to the topic and that specific question.
Great.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can be holding an apple, you can be holding your favorite toy, you can be holding something that is from your hobby, and yeah, you see that as you question, the questioning goes deeper. Yeah.
Great. Am I hearing like a barking of a dog?
Yes, that's outside.
Oh, I
I
thought
don't
you
have
have
a
a dog
dog
as
at
well.
home.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think while you're sharing that, I think it reminded me of something that I also did with my daughters, and my eldest is in P4 this year. Yeah. So before I share that, parents, I hope that you are benefiting a lot from this video and this Facebook Live, because we wanted to really help you and your child to do well for oral. And based on what Felicia said, this is the easiest 10 marks, right? That
Yeah.
your child can get using a lesser amount of time compared to the sitting, the one that you have to sit for, which is like 1 hour plus.
Yeah. A lot
Yeah,
of parents focus on paper one. Yeah.
yeah. So parents, if you think that you benefited from this video, do click on the like so that we know that you find something useful, and share with your friends as well. Yeah. So what I actually did with my girls is during the meal time we always talk. Yeah, and I
Okay.
think as they get older they talk less, and to initiate more conversation, end up I have to talk more and share with them uh like what happened today, what happened to me, and create the kind of norm that's so that everyone has something to share every day. Yeah, and the reason why I'm sharing this is because I realized that sometimes even when I look at a child and a mom, sometimes they don't really talk. Yeah, and it is very hard if the mommy suddenly one day asks the boy, say, now you must talk because tomorrow is your oral. I think the mommy is going to face a very huge roadblock, because
Yes.
the norm of expressing yourself freely without being judged at home is not there. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I thought that's something that I can share with the parents here as well.
Wow. Thank you, John. That's very, very insightful. So another point that I would like to add on to what you said is that, yeah, definitely children who comes from families who communicate openly, they open up more easily to strangers as well, and that will include the oral examiner. Yeah. So I think once we give our children a safe environment to voice their thoughts and to share their day, it makes a huge difference. So I think at the heart of it all, actually, parents play a very big role in building their child's confidence. And I know that PSLE every year is very stressful, but once parents start um, focusing too much on grades, the child might lose confidence in the end instead of gaining confidence. Yeah. So what I think is important to gain confidence, not just for oral, but for the entire year and the entire exam period, is to reaffirm their efforts, you know, and practice the growth mindset. Yeah. So I just share this.
Yeah. Maybe just allow me to share one more thing that I hope the parents can really benefit. Okay, and again, I'm not an expert here. Felicia is an expert, yeah. So I
no, don't say that, John.
share
You are an expert.
whatever I can to survive, to help my child just talk non-stop. Yeah. So I will tell my girl, so if the teacher didn't ask you anything, you can just imagine. So you can say things like, okay, maybe like if okay, for example, skydiving, I ask myself a question, I answer myself, and then I'll go on, like, for example, okay, skydiving, okay, what is it like? Oh, I can imagine that it's going to be very thrilling. And when will I get to have it? Nah, I don't think that I will have a chance. Yeah, but if I can convince my father, maybe I'll get a chance. Okay, so you ask a question, you ask yourself a question, you pause and you answer.
Yes.
And it works for my kid, yeah, because that's how she's wired.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, so back to you. Yeah. At the same time, I also want to share a question from Mommy Roxanne, and you can answer it later when you find the right time.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. So the growth mindset is to give children the confidence that if they continue to persist and put effort and work hard and continue trying without giving up, like for example, your teacher calling you hopeless, that is telling you that no matter what you do, you'll always be lousy. Yeah. And that's the last thing that we want to do. We want to reward and comfort them and reassure them that they will improve. Whether the improvement is a little bit or a lot, or you know, a significant one, I think we just have to continue to encourage them concretely. Yeah. So when they are able to do so, that they know that with effort I can change things. With effort I can make my life better. That way, we build a very resilient child as well. Not just a child who is good for the exams, but a child who is ready for life, right? Because there are so many other situations in life that they will be thrown into, and they will need to be strong and resilient about it without giving up. Yes. Roxanne asked, is there any difference between primary school and secondary school oral exam? I think the basis is the same, but for secondary school, they show a short video, and then based on that, the examiner will ask questions. Yeah, and of course, the content-wise, it will be more challenging than primary school. Yeah, but other than that, it's still the same. You still have to read a passage. After that, you still have to engage in a conversation. So PSLE is 15%, O-level is 20% weightage. Yeah.
All right. Okay, one question from me will be, what are the factors that will help the child to get full marks for oral? As in, is there like 1 or 2 marks that the teacher will only award to a specific situation to differentiate the higher achievers versus the rest?
Yes. So I was very impressed with this student. We asked one question or two, and he could talk for the next 5 minutes. He covered all the questions that we haven't asked him. So that was very impressive. Number
you share
2,
like more like what did you ask and what did he say, and he can continue to stick to the same point for the next 5 minutes.
So maybe I will share, for example, let's say if I show you this poster. Okay. So the standard question will be, what do you think this poster is trying to say? And other than describing this poster, the student will go on to his own personal experience about using the phone. He will start talking about phone addiction, the harmful consequences of phone addiction, as well as some real life examples, right? And also then is social media and the handphone so harmful? Then he's able to cover the other side of the coin as well, like the positive effects and how to balance at the end of the day. So a good student will be able to go the whole hog, but of course that is not something that we will expect from every student. So for example, you can see in prompt 2 and prompt 3, do you think phone addiction is a problem for youth today? And what would you do if you realize that you have a phone addiction? Yeah. So that is one point, like the student is able to continue to elaborate and answer spontaneously to the examiner's questions. Yeah. And then the other thing is vocabulary and grammar. So we will usually be very impressed with students who are able to express their ideas well, using the correct tense, past tense, present tense. Connecting words are very impressive as well. Connecting words such as firstly, secondly, thirdly. In addition, furthermore, to add to that, and always ending off your ideas with hence, therefore, in conclusion. It just makes them sound a lot more professional, as if they have organized their thoughts. But seriously, within that short time, they're just saying what is the most important point and putting in these connecting words to help it sound more organized.
Could there also be cases that a child has already prepared the connecting words at home?
Yes. So that is what they can practice, and then this is what we do during the oral lessons. So I just have we have very little time left, but I will just give a quick tip. This is standard. The first question is always about the poster, and I simply break it down into 3 parts. First is the heading. Okay, so this is called the heading. Sometimes within the heading there is also a message. Okay, then next is the picture. So when students see the picture, I need them to come up with keywords. Okay, so maybe John, can you tell me what is this?
Which one? The picture?
This one.
It's a chain. It's a chain.
Yes, very good.
Chain.
Okay, and this part of the hand, what is it?
Oh, what's that? It's a cuff.
Yes, very good. Hand, cuff.
Hand cuff.
Yeah. How about all these things here? What are they called?
Sorry, which one? All those social medias. Oh wow. So if you're detailed and you're meticulous, you can spot all this.
Yes. And then go on and give some examples. You don't have to say all 6. You can just say a few. Okay. So it's also, this is his wrist.
Okay.
Yeah, I tell you my handwriting.
This
is his wrist.
Content and matters.
So when students are able to just come up with keywords, they will be able to formulate their sentences. Okay, and I always say take the top-down approach. You work from the top, you go down all the way to the bottom. Now the last part is information. Some of their teachers will tell them that, oh, you don't need to read the information. But for me, if it's there and it's going to be useful later, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go according to this format, you just have to fulfill these 3 criteria. Heading, talk about the heading. What is this about? Talk about the picture. And then last but not least, say if you happen to be addicted to your phone, well, visit the website, say no to phoneaddiction.com, or alternatively, you can speak to your friendly counselor in school. And then move on to conclude this poster with your own opinion of phone addiction. Yeah.
Wow.
So then we will practice this for that 20 topics, for that 40 topics, and they get so good at it. Sometimes I think they're better than me.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Great.
So there a lot of it is practice. Yeah, and being able to connect with the child so that he or she, so whatever level that the child is at, the teacher will have to be able to connect. Yeah.
Great.
so that they will get the most out of the lesson.
All right. Okay, so I know that you have covered a lot of tips. Yeah, even for myself, I think is really like eye-opening as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what will be one key takeaway for the parents to start off preparing their kids for oral?
I think I will be very practical about it. Firstly, get some oral books from popular bookshop.
Mhm.
I can share some of them that I use. Is it there? Oh no. Okay, sorry. My books are not here, but I can take a picture of the books that I use and then we can post it later as well. Yeah, so first get the books because that will be the content. First, anything that we do, we need to put in hard work. So your child will have to read and highlight. Highlighting is a very essential part of learning for oral as well. Yeah, so get the book and then play those games. Play that game that I shared with you today. And really like what John also said, open communication at the at the dining table, sorry. Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, so like for myself, if your child has a lesson with me, then I will actually highlight the areas for improvement and the parent can practice with the child at home for the rest of the week. Yeah. Another very good tip.
Yeah.
I get my students to record their reading.
Oh yeah, the one is one of the best ways.
Yes. Yes. So when they listen to themselves, sometimes they shake their head, Then they say the very common thing issue is, teacher, why you sound so fake when you read? Or teacher, I feel like I sound very fake. I say if you feel comfortable and you think that you sound fine and that's the normal way that you read, you're not going to get the A star. Yeah, it is not that we are faking an accent, but when we do read properly, then we no longer sound like we are Singaporeans who speak Singlish. And so children are not comfortable with that. They're not so used to it. Yeah. So this is something that I use as a tool to show them. First, you read like that. Okay. Then you use my method and you read properly. You think you sound very funny when you do it. But when you listen and and their friends listen to it as well, and then we take a vote. Which do you think sounds better? Yeah. And they all, of course, agree that it's the one which to them sounded fake at first. But over time, they get the hang of it. Yeah. So for shy students, they can record their own recording and send it to their parents to listen. And yeah.
Great. Thanks for sharing so much during the past 1 hour.
Thank you so much, John. It was been an
I
interesting.
one last question, because it's always something that I ask my guests.
Yes, surprise question.
Yeah.
Something I didn't prepare for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can hear my girl crying already.
Oh.
Okay. She's not crying, she's whining.
Whining for you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I know that PSLE was just over. Yeah, and I think to any Singapore kid who sat through PSLE before is a very big thing to us when we were that age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say if I may invite you to walk down the memory lane, from your older self to younger self, yeah, and then as you walk along, then you see the 12-year-old Felicia.
Yes.
Yeah, and she got so close to you that you can almost touch her, and she's looking at you in the eyes. What will the older self tell the younger self?
I don't know if I should share this on Facebook Live.
Okay,
and then my students will hear it.
Is there anything that is up to your comfort level? I mean, anything.
No, I'm just kidding. So back then, my mom didn't pressurize me much. In fact, I have a Facebook post on my PSLE journey on the day when I got my results. So if my older self will tell my younger self to work harder, yeah. I think back then during my time, I always tell my students this. I said, I hardly knew anyone who had English tuition, and for me, English wasn't something that you can study. So nobody taught me all these techniques for comprehension or oral. We just did what we could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think today it's very different because every other child will have tuition or enrichment classes outside. And so it has become very stressful for them. Yeah. So for me, I think I could have worked harder. Yeah. And yeah, because I always tell my students, when you work harder in life, especially for your academics right now, that is your sole responsibility. You don't have to go out to earn money, right? So if everybody in the house plays their part, daddy goes work, to look after the family, mommy looks after the house, share the household chores, burden, and you as a child, you study, then everybody will be thriving in the family, right? Yeah. So, sorry, I ran.
No,
I think I'm a bit out of point. I forgot what I wanted to say.
I mean, it flows. I mean,
Yes.
Now it sounds like an oral test for you because you gave me one just now. Yeah, but that's okay. I mean,
options in life. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I say when you do well, you get more options in life, and that is what it's all about. It's not for that A star. It's not for that 91. But what will that 91 marks bring you, and what kind of opportunities will you get? Yeah.
Yes.
But I want to say that PSLE it's like a very big thing to many parents, but seriously, it's just the start of the journey. So I tell them, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's okay even if the child didn't do extremely well. There is still the O levels, the A levels, diploma, and university. Some are late bloomers.
And the life battles that you have, that all of us have every day.
Yes. I see the tremendous amount of pressure put on kids these days, and I do feel for them. It's really difficult at such a young age. So yes, I would like to end this session to encourage parents to look beyond the grades, right? To think out of the box of a typical Singaporean, where it's that A star thing, or getting into a branded school. So I didn't go to a branded school, but I say I turned out fine. Yeah. So it's what kind of a person you become at the end of the day. Yeah, that's more important than grades, I feel.
Got it. Thanks so much for sharing. Yeah, and I resonate with that as well. And a lot of things have changed now. While our children need to go to school, but I think as a parents, we need to equip them with the 21st century skills, which is totally different from what we have learned.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, parents. If the parents want to look for you, how can I contact you?
They can visit my Facebook page.
How do we find it? Felicia Chen.
Yeah.
I'll try now. Okay, I think later we can post it inside the post.
We can just post it inside the post. It's Felicia's English class with the apostrophe S.
Okay, hold on. Felicia English. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, because my girl is crying already.
Better go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, very dedicated father.
Just try my best. Okay, hold on. Okay. Parents, if you want to get hold of Felicia, you can go to her page. Okay, give me a minute. Let me just get this done. Okay, I will post in the comment box. Yeah, because when my kid start to whine and cry, I'll get flustered.
Same here.
Yeah. But I want to still get it done. Okay, so parents, thanks so much for watching this. Sorry, I got to go already. Yeah, I mean, I really hope that you benefited a lot from this sharing. And again, if you want to keep a copy of this video, just share the post, and then you'll be on your Facebook wall, so you can refer to it anytime you want. Yeah. Okay, Felicia, thanks so much for your time, and then I will catch up with you on next Monday.
Yes, looking forward to meet you in person.
Okay.
Thank you so much for today, John. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.